I mean, when I saw the job description, it came at the end of a 6-month boot camp for Rails when I was really, really kind of done with it. And I guess we'll talk about that later. But it was everything about the job description had me written all over it. Like I have 20 years of experience in marketing and events and education. So while it might seem like because I don't know Rails, I'm like not in the right thing, actually what I was hired for, I have a lot of experience in, and Rails is just a new thing.
Hey, welcome to Beginner Maps, where we showcase stories of scary career pivots so that you get the courage, path, and role models to carve out a career that you love.
Today, I am thrilled to have Amanda Perino with us. Amanda is the new Executive Director of the newly created Rails Foundation, a nonprofit that is dedicated to supporting the Ruby on Rails ecosystem. If you're not familiar with Ruby on Rails, let me give you a quick intro. Ruby on Rails is the web development framework that has been used to create tools like Shopify, GitHub, Basecamp, Twitch, Airbnb, Twitter, and thousands of other apps that millions of people use every day. Today, I am excited about talking to Amanda about her career journey and how she got here. Welcome to the show, Amanda.
Thank you so much. I'm really excited to be here. This is my first podcast, so thank you both.
Wow.
For allowing that.
It is such a great opportunity for us. I feel like so proud that I'm the first person to interview you. Okay, so Amanda, tell us a little bit about the Rails Foundation. I know you are super new at the role, but I think like you'll have more insights into why this foundation was created than many of our listeners.
Yeah, sure. So I am new in the role, but the foundation itself is brand new, as you said as well. And it was set up by David Heinemeier Hansen. He was the driving force behind this. And he reached out to a lot of our core members, all of our core members, who all bought in on the idea of supporting the Rails ecosystem. They're all companies built on Rails. So they want to support the ecosystem by improving the documentation that we have out there, organizing more events, improving education efforts, and then marketing as well. So the first order of business was getting me on board. And now that I'm on board, I think it's been 6 or 7 weeks now. And a lot of people are asking, like, what does that mean, those 4 pillars? To me, it's quite clear, but I'm happy to kind of quickly go over what that means for us now. So documentation, we have a lot of plans to improve the Ruby on Rails documentation by way of updating the content and also putting a new tutorial online. And events, we just announced Rails World, which will be our first of many years to come user conference for Rails, and that'll be here in Amsterdam and in my home city. And then education, we're hoping to standardize Ruby on Rails curriculums and interview processes so that people can understand what they're getting into and know if they're doing well, and that companies can know what to ask people who are applying for Rails jobs. And then general marketing is just getting the word out for Rails for new developers and also developers who have been using Rails for a long time. So that's like in a nutshell what we're busy with, and that just in 90 seconds seems like a little, but it's a full-time job.
I can imagine like Ruby on Rails ecosystem is really, really big. And all of these pillars that you talked about, documentation, events, marketing, those are very important things. I'm curious, do you know, like, why was there a need for like a separate nonprofit to be started for, helping with these 3 pillars?
I think, yeah, that's a good question. So the community has done really fantastic for 20 years. Rails has been around for 20 years. And for the most part, it's been thriving on its own. But today, more than ever, we have so many other frameworks, languages and frameworks available that people could possibly move to. And so it's not like competition because each of those serve different purposes. But the idea of how to reinforce what Rails is here for and what Rails is really good for needs some sort of driving factor behind it. And also there's this wild stigma, which I don't quite understand, and I'm trying to get to the bottom of, that people, the Rails is dead idea. For everyone I'm talking to in the community, that's not the case at all. So I don't know where it's coming from, if that's, like people's general opinions for real, or if it's just, I don't know. So without a foundation behind it to kind of counteract that idea and show that, hey, like the ecosystem is still strong, the community is still strong, there's lots of events out there, people are still doing businesses on Rails. It just helps if you have a foundation behind it to kind of reinforce that message.
I think that makes a lot of sense. I got into Ruby on Rails like development very recently, and when I talk to a few friends who have been developers for a while, they're like, "Why are you doing Ruby on Rails? Why not choose like JavaScript or some new fancy thing? Ruby on Rails, as you said, dead, and like you should be using more newer frameworks."
Yeah, that's wild that you say that, because it's exactly this experience I had as well. So last year when I started the bootcamp at Lewagen, it was a 6-month bootcamp from June to December. And right away, there's two factions in my immediate community that came out. And the first were people who have been using Rails, people who worked at GitHub before, and GitHub is built on Rails, that were super, super excited when I said I was learning Rails. They were like, "Oh, the community is fantastic. Wait till you learn it. You're going to love it for XYZ reasons. If you need help, I'm here." And then there was this other group of people who were kind of newer to coding. And then I got the same thing. Why not Python? Why not this? Why not that? Rails is dead. And I was like, this is weird. This is two different sides of a story here. And I want to know why.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. I think, have you found like any explanations into the why?
I think, yeah, in general, I think it's that people are quick to jump to a new thing, a shiny new thing, because it's new and exciting. And they think that if they get in early, there's going to be more opportunity. And we see it now with AI. We see it with web. I always get this wrong, Web 3 or Web 5, Web 3.
Web 3. But it feels like it could be Web 5. Yeah. And you are the leader of this new initiative, essentially, as the executive director of this nonprofit. Can you tell us, like, first of all, what does this job, like, what are your responsibilities here?
Yeah, good question. The role of an executive director is to kind of operationally run a nonprofit foundation. So that's overseeing the budget, making sure the initiatives that we set out to do are being pushed forward. And in those initiatives are like the event, the documentation, all those pillars that I mentioned. And then also looking into the future of what else do we want to do further down the line? What other people are we going to need on board for further down the line? We haven't even gotten there yet. Right now, it's just like me and the board. And then eventually more freelancers that we're going to bring on. So it's really everything, like everything that you could think to run a company without the sales aspect of it, because we're not selling anything. So it's sort of like the CEO role of a nonprofit.
Wow. Okay. So you're the CEO essentially for this nonprofit, and you're reporting to the board. Yeah. Almost a CEO. Now, I know you got into development just last year with this bootcamp that you mentioned earlier. That means that you are like super new to the entire Rails ecosystem, and not just to the Rails ecosystem, but to programming in general. Do you fear that maybe your lack of technical knowledge would prevent you in some way?
That's a really good question. And I think that kind of speaks to the imposter syndrome in everyone.
Yeah.
Even experienced Rails developers might have that in this role. But the interesting thing, I think, is I think other people who were really experienced in Rails applied for this job. And what I put in my what do you call it? My cover letter was really speaking to the new Rails developer that has trouble with documentation, because I did have trouble with documentation during my boot camp. I remember thinking like, why is this so hard? Why am I having to learn a different English to learn all these difficult concepts that I'm already like struggling with? So that's what actually spoke to me about this job. They were looking for somebody to help with documentation. And I was like, hey, wait a second, I have strong opinions on that, because that was one of my stumbling blocks. And I've spoken to so many experienced Rails developers now who have said, like, I don't remember anymore. It's been like 15 years since I've been developing with Rails. I don't remember what it was like to be a new Rails developer. So I don't remember what the struggles are. Like it's so far behind for them. And to me, it's still fresh in my mind. So we have lots of audiences that we're trying to target. We have the experienced Rails developer in everything we do. We have the new Rails developer, but also the experienced developer who is new to Rails. So that's 3 audiences actually. So we have so many experienced Rails developers and their opinions in the community. And then I think I can talk a little bit more to the new Rails developer and what they need. So yeah, I don't think it necessarily hurts me, but I think it's a benefit.
It actually empowers you. Yeah, I think like you're being new. Yeah, you being new to this ecosystem has given you a perspective and a closer, empathy with the newer developers and what they need, so that you can lead the charge here.
Yeah, and it's I mean when I saw the job description, it came at the end of a 6-month boot camp for Rails when I was really kind of done with it, and I guess we'll talk about that later. But it was everything about the job description had me written all over it. Like I have 20 years of experience in marketing and events and education. So while it might seem like because I don't know Rails, I'm like not in the right thing, actually what I was hired for, I have a lot of experience in, and Rails is just a new thing.
Yeah, definitely. I think your experience with events, that is already you're putting that to good use with the New Rails conference.
Yeah, I can't wait for it. I think it's going to be really good. The venue alone is just beautiful.
Wow. Okay. And what was the work that is going into doing it right now? Are you the only person who's behind organizing the entire conference?
Right now, yes, and I'm hoping to get either a production company or an event freelancer on my side soon. But as far as, so the next big thing, just finding the venue and dates in the city, that was just one small part of it that took longer than I wanted to. But the next focus really is going to be content, like really finding speakers who have interesting stories to tell is one of the really big priorities now. And luckily I have a committee made up by the board to help with that.
Right.
So it's not just going to be
amazing.
me. Yeah, we need a lot of opinions in this case. So in addition to that, I mean, there's so much work that goes into an event. Like we have to promote it. We need a website. We need somebody to build the website. We need to sell tickets. We need to think of an AV plan, production, F&B, swag. Everybody loves swag. Who's going to design it? So there's so many things, like a lot of little moving parts, and all of that starts now that we have the venue.
Wow, that sounds like a lot of work, and like it's great that you have experience organizing events like this from your previous job.
Yeah, I always had fun with events, and especially events that bring you into close contact with the community. At my last role, I didn't actually want to join the company. I was hired as a contractor freelancer, and my boss said like, hey, do you want to join the company? And I was like, no, I've got a good thing going. But it was actually being on site, producing our first event and meeting the community who was really enthusiastic about the tools that company made, that I thought, wow, I see the power of community that's really engaged and into products and tools and willing to like go to another city and talk about it. And that's when I decided I wanted to work more in events and also join that particular company.
I love this. Can you speak a little bit about the difference? How's the experience of working at a nonprofit different from working at a for-profit company?
Yeah, that's a really good question. And I've thought about it a lot in these past couple of weeks since this is my first, one of my first not-for-profit communities. All the rest are companies. All the rest have been for profit. And both are a hustle, right? Like they're just different kinds of hustles. At a profit company, really everything that you're doing, all of the money you're spending is to bring in revenue. And if your role isn't contributing to that actively, and if the bottom line at the end of the day isn't hitting it, then the whole company is in a bad place. So, I mean, that'll lead to layoffs, budget cuts, everything that we're seeing happening in tech right now. And that adds a little bit of a pressure. Whereas at the nonprofit, we're not trying to sell anything. So that pressure of the revenue is gone, but we still need to prove. It also makes it harder to measure ROI, right? So
Exactly.
we have at the core, I don't know if you know how we're set up, but the Rails Foundation is funded by 8 core members and then contributing members. And all of our money comes from that. So now the hustle is, how do we prove to the companies that have entrusted us with their money that we're doing what we said we would set out to do, and like keeping our promises, basically. So it's just a different hustle.
Yeah, I can imagine. But are you measuring, like, do you have like measurable, goals right now, or how are you even reporting the progress to the board?
It'll be, can we sell out the event? It'll be website visits. Well, I'm going to try to have a mechanism for improving like documentation, like, is this helping? But really it's kind of general sentiment. Like it's going to, a lot of it, unfortunately, is going to come down to, does it feel like we're doing well? Which is terrifying, I think, because like, I'm like, I need to see numbers, like on a scale of 1 to 10, am I doing well? But we don't really have that opportunity. As there's things you can do, but for the most part, it's a feeling.
That sounds like a tough spot to be in. I mean, how do you even measure the feeling?
Yeah, I don't know. NPS scores after an event. So that's what I mean. The ROI is a little bit harder to measure. But I've spoken to all the board members about this, and I asked, like, what does success look like for you and for your company? And it's different for all the board members, really.
Got it. That sounds like terrifying and also exciting, because this is your first time being essentially the CEO of a nonprofit. So it must be exciting to be in this sort of a position of so much influence and so much capability of change.
I wouldn't say influential, but yeah, hopefully we can bring about a lot of change. And that's really going to take a group effort. And it's really the community who's willing to show up at our events, help with documentation, contribute to documentation. So it's a group effort, and we're just kind of here helping shape it a little bit.
Right, makes sense. Talking about the community, I saw on Twitter that you've been very active in just reaching out, or actually replying to people, Rails developers on Twitter, and people who have opinions on how to improve Rails and the documentation and all of that. And you've been talking to them. So tell me a bit about what that experience has been like.
It's so from day one, my inbox has been full of people who just want to share their ideas, say hello, like see what the Rails Foundation is up to. And that's been really, really cool. The first month, I think, was just almost all calls, like getting to know you calls, key people in the community, just finding out like a little bit of context from the community, because I've only been a part of it since last year. So it's been like a torrent of ideas and opinions coming at me. But if I were to kind of quickly paraphrase what everyone is saying, it's pretty wild, because really all the ideas coming at me are the reason that the Rails Foundation was set up. We need events in Europe. We need better documentation. We need a way for new developers to find Rails and fall in love with it like we did. It's really just the same ideas over and over and over again. Like, of course, there's some variations, But what it all really goes back to is this is why the Rails Foundation was set up, and that's why it's important that we're here.
That's interesting. Are you getting like I'm sure like since Rails is such a people are so passionate about Rails, like you must be getting tons of inbound, people who are volunteering to help you in all of these different aspects.
Yeah, we're getting a lot of that, which is a great testament, I think, to the power of this community. But it's coming a little too soon. Like first, to me, everything starts with a plan. Like what's the end goal and how are we going to get there? And then we can figure out who's going to help us get there. So we're having a lot of like, I want to help and kind of emails, but we don't really have a way yet, and they don't have an idea yet. It's just a lot of enthusiasm, which is fantastic. Right. So I'm following everything and I'm trying to respond to everyone, but eventually I hope to be able to come back and say, okay, this is how you can help.
Right. Yeah. That sounds like a really cool position to be in when it comes to building this community, because you have all of this energy from the community who wants to help you improve it. And now your job is to essentially carve that energy and make sure that it's flowing in the right places in the right manner.
Exactly. Yeah. Just point it in the right direction like a fire hose.
Yeah. I love this. Okay, so I'm gonna talk a little bit about your transition into this role. So at your previous role at HashiCorp, you were also building events for developers. And then like towards the end of that role, you realized that coding knowledge was a missed opportunity for you. Can you speak about like why you felt that way, and just why you felt that way?
Yeah, I guess it's one of the things when you're working in tech in a non-tech role, but like tech adjacent, that you always sort of wonder, like, what are they doing over there? At my last role, like I knew the products, I could tell you what the products did, but I didn't understand. I had never gotten my hands on the products, which I think is weird. For instance, when I worked at Nikon, I had the camera in my hands. Like I was shooting with a Nikon camera. I understood it a little bit better. And I guess that's in my mind. I never put my hands on Terraform, for instance, before. So it always felt like this gap of knowledge. Like what are people using it for on their day-to-day basis? What problems is it solving? And not just the marketing message of that, but actually like in the day-to-day. So because I love learning, I decided to take a boot camp to just continue to learn something. And I figured like, if I can continue this and like progress slowly after learning programming into DevOps, for instance, maybe I would learn a little bit more what our customers, our users, our event attendees would go through on a day-to-day basis. So really, that's why I took the boot camp. One, for fun, and it turned out to be stressful. And figure out like, what are developers doing all day? And so in the end, towards the end of the 6 months, I was so done. I was so done with it. So done with it. I admire you for teaching yourselves Rails, by the way. So we learned Ruby and Rails, and this has nothing to do with Ruby or Rails or MySQL or Git, nothing at all. It's just I had a full-time job already that I really enjoyed. And like this was a hobby that was very, very stressful. So I knew I didn't want to be a developer. Like I knew that in my core, just like I know I don't want to be a dentist. I don't want to be a ballerina. These are like nice things. I'm glad they're out there in the world, but I don't need to do them myself. So towards the end of the 6 months, I was addicted to the learning part of it. So I was like, I'm going to continue to learn this, but just at my own pace, slowly, so I can relax a little bit. And 2 days before we graduated, I saw this job come across my newsfeed. And then it was like, I clicked through out of curiosity, and it was, we're looking for somebody to operationally run the Rails Foundation and help with documentation, events, marketing, blah, blah, blah. And I was like, okay, well, this I can do. This is what I do. This is my career experience. So, and I just so happened to learn Rails as like the icing on the top. I wasn't good at it, but hey, like they didn't need me to be a developer. They just needed me to understand Rails. So that's how I kind of serendipitously got to this role. If I hadn't had the curiosity to learn something new, I wasn't looking for another job. It just kind of led to that anyway, because it brought Rails into my eyesight.
Right. This is amazing because you essentially went from being a new developer and new to the Rails ecosystem to being the executive director of the Rails Foundation in less than 1 year.
Yeah, when you
That
put it
sounds
that way,
like an
it
impossible. Yeah.
But like there is, I mean, it did align. What they needed for this role specifically aligned a lot with what I had already done in my career for 20 years. So it wasn't, when you put it that way, yeah, it's like a wild big leap, but to me it felt very natural.
Yeah, that makes sense. I love this. I love this journey, Amanda. Now I'm gonna pass it to Piyush for a bit because he has prepared a little game for us. And
Oh no.
let's Piyush, over to you.
Yeah, thanks, Desh. It'll be fun. It'll be fun. Nothing to be nervous about, Amanda.
I'm already nervous.
Okay, so we're going to play a game called Routine Roulette. And with this game, what we want to do is we want to give the listeners a feel of what a week looks like in your shoes. So I'm going to basically call out some times of the week, and you try to tell me what you might be doing around that time.
Okay.
Okay? Yeah.
Okay.
I said it'll be easy. Let's get started with the first day of the week. It's Monday. Say it's 10 a.m. on a Monday. What's the first work-related thing that you usually do on Mondays?
Oh, that's okay. That is an easy one. I set up, well, probably the night before, I've already set up Monday. So what I do is I time block in my calendar things I need to focus on. So I'll do like an hour and a half of one project, and then I'll take a break, and an hour and a half the next, and maybe then I'll have a call. So at about 10 o'clock, I'm probably focusing on one of the biggest projects that I want to accomplish that week. And for instance, this week, it's the event timeline. So figuring out exactly what needs to be done by a certain time for the event.
Is there a reason behind that block being of 90 minutes? Or does that depend on the work that you want to do?
I think 90 minutes is anything more than that, and I start to waver a little bit. But I think 90 minutes, you can get most things done that you set out to do. And that's kind of taking like a break every 20 minutes, the Pomodoro technique.
Okay, got it. Say it's 4 p.m. Wednesday. What are you doing?
Oh, 4 p.m. Wednesday. I usually don't have any calls, thankfully. So right about 4 p.m., I'm taking a break to walk my dog.
After the break.
Easy.
What do you do after the break?
After the break, I get back, and that's probably a good time because that has been like a distraction, I guess, for the workday. So one of the easiest ways to kind of be productive but not waste time, I guess, is to hit emails. So we use Hey actually for email, and they have like a focus and reply. So everything that you didn't reply to during the day, you can just put into this bucket. So then you can go by boom, 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 and like get a lot of emails done in one go. So I'm probably getting ready to do a bigger project by getting emails out of the way.
Okay, that sounds exciting. And yeah. It's say Thursday. It's 9 p.m. Are you still working?
On Thursday?
Yes.
Okay, so in my last company, I'm located in Amsterdam, and most of my team was on the east or west coast of the US. So I would only really get started at about 3 p.m. my time, and then I would work till quite late. And I got so used to this over the years that it worked for me perfectly. I had the whole morning to myself, and at 3 o'clock I could start. And I'm not much of I don't go out at night or anything. So I was happy to stay at home with my old dog working. Now that's shifted. My team isn't in the West Coast anymore. I don't have to work those hours. So it's been a real hard adjustment, actually, stopping work at 6 o'clock so that I can have a bit of a normal life at night. So I don't know yet what I'm doing at 9 o'clock. Like in my last role, I would just be hitting peak productivity with my ideas. I had to ask my friends when I started this at like 6 or 7 o'clock, like what do people do at night? Like what do you do if you don't want to go to a bar and like just drink the whole night? And it's too cold for hobbies because it was February. So it really took some adjusting. And I've been going out and meeting friends, going to movies, things like that. So I'm probably at a movie on Thursday at 9.
Wow. That's
long way to say that.
Okay, and it is the last day of the week. If that's Friday for you. Is your last day Friday?
It is, yeah.
How do you go about wrapping up?
That's really good. I have a standing desk that I have a very small Amsterdam apartment. So I kind of put my standing desk away and I tidy up and I make sure to not go past about 5 o'clock. Really kind of start the weekend and use the weekend to recharge. So sometimes I say, okay, on Sunday, I'll do X, Y, or Z and catch up a little bit, but I've been really kind of trying not to do that. I'll look at my meetings and my plan for the next day on Sunday, and like, that's it. So I have a good 48 hours to rest and recharge. And I think that's really important to keep that balance.
Yeah. Well, that's the game.
That was good. So hard. I win.
Yeah, you definitely won.
All right.
Thanks, Amanda.
That was fun. That was fun to listen to. Okay, Amanda, welcome back. Now I have some questions for you for, some advice that you would like to give to the listeners. But before that, I want to understand a little more about event production from you. So can you put like everything that goes into producing an in-person event into maybe 3 to 5 buckets?
I'd say probably first and foremost, the biggest bucket would be content and programming. So the speakers, the activities that you have planned, like the keynotes, the announcements, all of that is the biggest and most important bucket. People will come to an event with good speakers telling interesting stories if you make them sit on the floor and throw a projector against a brick wall. We're not going to do that at Rails World, but that's really all it takes. That's the core of what an event is for. So it's a big priority. After that, production, like the general production of something. What is the registration experience going to, production and experience, let's say. What is the experience walking in going to be? What is the design of the place look like? How does the AV support the messaging? Like, do you use colors around lights? What kind of music is playing? What all the sponsors are there? What do their booths look like? How can you move around the booth? So floor planning is a big part of it as well as what are people going to eat and how often are you going to feed them? So that's another important big bucket. And then I would say sponsors are quite important. Sponsors help create an event. They help create the atmosphere of an event. They give a lot to an event. So figuring out who those sponsors are, what their presence looks like, what their booth looks like, that's another really, really big one, I think.
That's interesting. No, that's good. That's super cool to know. I'm trying to get like more sense of what it takes to do the activities in each of these buckets. So can you estimate like some time for each of these buckets for producing maybe a 500-person event?
I think one thing to keep in mind is that for most COVID messed things up for a lot of for the whole industry really, but for any good event, say you want an event in let's see, October of 2023, we're having this event. By June of 2022, you should have had that venue decided already, and the planning should be well underway. It takes at least a year to plan a big event like that. And any of the Rails community events organizers will tell you the same. It's very intense. The fact that we only just now in March, a couple months out, found a venue. Like that is very late for this industry. So it's not impossible and we're going to do it and it's going to be fine. But I think each of these is a full work stream that needs a plan, resources, time, attention. And this is just one of the things that we're trying to do. So documentation also needs to be fixed, and education and marketing, and the fact that events takes up so much effort is something that we have to consider, I think. So when people are like, what are you doing? What are you doing? My answer is I'm doing my best.
Yeah. And speak to me a little bit about the most important part of the event, which is the speakers, finding them, and how do you find them, and how do you make sure that the things that they're talking about are aligned with what the audience wants to hear?
Yeah, that's a good question. So I haven't yet run a call for proposals in the Rails community, but it sounds like it's going to be easier than my last role, which was quite hard to get people to talk about it. We have a committee. So what we're going to do is we're going to say, okay, Rails is this, and this is the message that we want to drive Rails forward for the future. And what kind of talks can support that message. And then we'll just put the call for proposals out and we'll receive everybody's ideas. And then the committee will go through and see, like, does this support the message? Is it interesting? Will it work for new developers? Will it work for experienced developers? One or the other. Does it fit into the overall programming? Is this somebody that we want to invite there? There's a lot of like factors that go into it. But
Right.
Luckily we'll have a whole committee on this.
Right. Yeah. And why was it difficult at your previous role?
I think it wasn't, in the end, it wasn't a open public CFP. It was sort of invite only, because the larger the company got, the more they wanted to kind of direct that message of who was speaking at their on behalf of them at their conference.
Right.
Rails is more of a community conference. That was a conference for a company. This is more of a community conference, so people have a lot more ideas about what they want to hear and a lot more different use cases for Rails. So I think it'll be interesting to see. It'll be my first time, so it's a learning experience for me.
For sure. Yeah. And do you do anything for people to just randomly meet each other? Because one of the big reasons why people attend events, in my understanding, is to meet others like them. So is there anything that goes on the production side to enable that?
Yeah, that's a real, I'm glad that you say that, because that's a really important part of it. People want to meet other people, they want to network, but they don't want to get overwhelmed by it. So figuring out how to make that happen, and it could be as small as giving people lots of little seating areas where they naturally fall next to somebody, and then they have this spontaneous serendipitous way of meeting each other. Hey, what are you working on right now? What are you here with? Which company are you here with? Where did you travel from? So I think creating a space that has those sparks of conversation is one little thing we can do. As far as programmatically, I'm still working on that. So if anybody has any ideas about that, please send them my way. But figuring out things that can bring people together to exchange knowledge a little bit more one-on-one. A conference is oftentimes like, here's a speaker, boom, there's their content, one way. But allowing that two-way dialogue on a smaller scale, I think, is also really important. And that's something we still have to figure out.
Right, that makes sense. And can you tell me, like, how did you get into events, like the industry? What was your first role into this, and why did you choose to go into that?
I was working as a freelancer doing more communications and marketing in general. And I started working for HashiCorp as a freelancer to do their email marketing, their website messaging, selling the tickets, the whole communication side of it, the pre-arrival information. And the more I did that, and like we sold out every time, then I started to move more into the production side of things. And I really liked, I liked the email and comm side of thing, doing all the social media for it. It's everything that I had done in my career up until that point. But at a certain point, it's everything I'd done in my career up until that point. So I wanted to try something new. And HashiCorp allowed me to try the production side of it more. And sometimes the fun creative side, like figuring out activations for the community on site. That's another way to get people engaged. Figuring
What
out
does
the
that mean?
an activation.
Yeah.
It's something that you put on. It's usually like an installation that's built that people can engage with. And a lot of the times, for instance, at a tech conference, it's something fun that's built using the technology itself. And it's something that people kind of poke around on and then discussion. And you don't really have to have a program around it. You just set it live and let people discover it themselves.
Got it. Yeah.
Doing fun stuff like that. And HashiCorp allowed me to explore that side of it more. Yeah. And in the end, it's kind of now I'm doing a little bit of both.
It does sound really fun. I have never been to a tech conference at this scale before, but yeah, I think this will be amazing.
You should check it out if you have any in your area. Even like what's the biggest conference you've been to? Like how many people, do you know?
I think I've only been to like small gatherings, not a big conference. Yeah.
Do you know, in my work, I also, of course, go to conferences that are for me, like for marketing and like that sort of career type. And I've also been to events for event planners, which I don't recommend because it's just really over the top of like the furthest you can do. And I've seen a lot of what I don't like. And I think the last conference I went to was with another event planner, and it's tough for us to walk in and go, oh, this could be better. Oh, that could be better. So it's a lot of understanding what doesn't work as much as what would work.
Can you give me some examples of things that you've identified that doesn't work at a conference or an event?
I have really good. I won't name the conference, but they started by putting everybody in arena type seating. So you're in like, it almost looks like a gladiator fight is about to start. There's even like sand on the floor. And then to signal the start, like that the keynote would be starting in a couple of minutes, at about 5 minutes out, they had in the four corners of this arena seating, they had people with these long horns that would just blow this long note in everybody's ears. And then they would take 2 steps down, and 30 seconds later, they would blow it again. And it was just so jarring and so loud. And it didn't take into consideration that some people are, for instance, neurodivergent, and they don't like loud noises like that. And it was a very unwelcome way to start a conference. And I know that we'll never send in horns at Rails World. I can promise you that.
Thank God. Okay. This is super cool, Amanda. Your journey and the things that you have done. They're so non-traditional, and there've been like a lot of serendipitous moments, like you getting into Rails and that leading to your job at the Rails Foundation. What do you feel is the key to generating such serendipity in your career?
Oh, that's a good question. I think probably being open to see it is a big thing. Being open to opportunities that come your way. We had this discussion at our first call about 5-year plan. I don't know if you remember, but I said, like, I don't work on a 5-year plan because and I completely admire people who do. And I think some industries you can't be a doctor and just wing it. You have to know where you're going to be for 5 years. But for most of us, I wonder if somehow by being so stuck to your plan and so focused on that you miss other things that might be coming in from the left or the right. So all these opportunities and serendipitousness that you're closed down to. And I wouldn't say it would work for everyone, but I think my whole career has been led by being open to go, oh, hey, this looks interesting. Let me go over here for a while and try this out for a while. And then I grew in that role. And then I said, oh, you know what? That looks interesting now. Let me go over there, and kind of wove my way and built on each thing that I learned. So I think serendipity, if you're open to serendipity, it can kind of help you find a career you didn't even know was possible.
Right. This is really interesting that you said that, that you found you would see like this looks interesting, and then you would go there, and that would lead to the other thing. Has there ever been a time where you went to this thing that looked interesting and you found that it didn't work, and so you had to take a step back?
Absolutely. I've done that so many times. Like where to even start?
Can you give an example of something that didn't work out?
Yeah, I think probably my biggest failure, but at least I tried, was I already had my marketing degree in university, but I really wanted to be a fashion designer. So I did everything I could. I took like sewing classes. I took French classes because that's the language of fashion. I took pattern making classes, all these sorts of things. And then I finally got accepted to a school in Amsterdam, a fashion school in Amsterdam. That's why I came to Amsterdam. And I was so excited, like I was making this dream come true. I had thought about it for years, and I arrived here and I started fashion school, and I hated it from like day one. I didn't like it at all. And that was a really important lesson. I think I dropped out in 6 months, and I was really happy that I tried, but then it also made me realize like hobbies don't need to be careers. Like hobbies can stay hobbies, and you can keep it separate, and then a career can be something else. You get different satisfactions from each of those. And I beat myself up, I think, for a long time about not finishing it. But in the end, every time I beat myself up, I would look at where I was and be happy where I was, because I was weaving my way through life and letting interests lead me. So sometimes you have to know when to back out of that and think, this isn't for me, actually. And that was one of it for me.
Right. And do you have like a general rule or formula, or how do you decide if it's the time to back out and pursue something else?
I think it's really
versus when it's the advice of you should stay put and keep hustling, and maybe it will work out. Like just success is just around the corner.
Yeah. I did a lot of jobs that I think from the outset might not seem very glamorous or exciting, but in my day-to-day work, I was always happy to show up and do the work. And that's, I think, the one thing that's led me. So for instance, in fashion school, I hated showing up and working at a sewing machine. Like I admire, I'm wearing clothes that people did that, but like, I didn't want to do that every day. So I think it's what you're excited about on a day-to-day basis. And for me, that's not necessarily spreadsheets, for instance. I have to work in spreadsheets a lot, but it is the idea that you're building an event for the community, that you're contributing to the community in some way. And letting that guide you, I think, is really important. Am I happy every day?
Right. I love that. It's a great philosophy, just being mindful of whether your day-to-day is something that you're enjoying.
Yeah.
Like that. And what advice do you have for people who are building a community for developers, but they aren't developers themselves?
This is that's such a good question, because of course I've thought about that a lot. I think the idea of community in tech is really, really special. And so before I talk about that, and before I answer the question, I'm going to be a little bit long-winded here. So let's take a step back and think of community in general as a whole, in the traditional sense, right? It's a group of people gathered around an idea. And that could be, we share the same God, we come from the same family, we come from the same neighborhood, we speak the same language, we have the same hobby, all these sorts of things. But community in tech is something really special. And because open source tech specifically, because that works so well in a different way, I think we see a lot of other industries in the world trying to build community now. And I have strong opinions about that. But the difference is that in all these other communities, it's almost like a one-way dialogue. But in tech, you have this idea of a community built around a product, a language, a framework, what have you. And instead of just like a shoe company saying, here's my product, use it, and then the community just using it, there's the idea of contribution and open source. And that's really what makes it so special. And there's a reason I'm talking about this, I promise. So I take the product or the tool and I use it in a certain way and it doesn't really work. So I change it a little bit and I send my idea back. Hey, this worked for me. Maybe it'll work for the rest of the community. And then those on the other side, then they can choose to merge it or not. But this kind of back and forth dialogue, I think, is what makes open source tech communities so important. And so many other industries are trying to do that. I saw a job that was like community building for a water bottle. I was like, why would you want to build a community? Is it really necessary to build a community around a water bottle? And as me, as a person who uses a water bottle, do I want to make that part of my personality, and like spend my time learning about the features of this water bottle? So it doesn't really work in every industry. So I would say my tip, that was your question, is to be ready to listen, because developers know what's best for developers and they're willing to share those ideas with you, and not just on the technology itself, but in everything that you're doing to create the community that they're in.
I love this advice. This is, I love how you put it, and the backstory that you gave about open source and the explanation. This is, this is very insightful, Amanda. Okay, so it's time for the last question. But before that, I want to pass it over to Piyush again for our final game for the show.
Oh, wait, another game?
Yeah, another quick game.
Okay, in this round, I'll be a 20-year-old. I'll be fresh out of college and I just graduated, and I'm going to present some scenarios and I want you to tell me what I should do in that situation that I'm in.
Okay.
Yeah. So as someone who has just graduated, should I focus on applying for 10 jobs, or should I focus on applying on a one job that I really want?
I think you should focus on applying for the 10 jobs and be open to what comes your way, because the more you expose yourself to more companies, more people in those companies, more ideas, more products, the more that you can eventually get back to that dream job and that dream company and use that experience towards it. So everything will get you there in the end. It's just a matter of deciding what route you want to take.
Okay. I have a dream role and I have a dream company. But I can have only one of that. Either I can get a dream role at a company that I don't care about, or I can get a random role at a company that I very much care about. Where should I go?
Oh, I think you should definitely apply for both. Can that count? Oh, I don't know. If I went by the company itself, I've always led by the work, and then eventually I land in a company and I get to know the company and I get to love the company. But for me, it's the work itself. So I would say go for the work itself, because that's what you're going to be doing on a day-to-day basis. And eventually you'll get to that dream company if it's meant to be.
And as someone who has never taken a job, should my first job be remote, or should I get something that's in person?
Oh, that's such a weird question now. Oh, that's an interesting one. I would say try as much as possible to show up in person. And I say that as an advocate of remote work. I've worked remotely for at least 10 years now. There's something nice about being in, this is why in-person events are also so successful. There's something really nice about being around people and the spark that can happen with ideas. So I would say as a 20-year-old, definitely try for your first couple roles to be in person. I know it sounds really exciting to work remotely and to think that you could work on an island somewhere, but also meeting people in person is really fantastic.
Okay. Thanks for this advice, Amanda. Back to you,
Don't
Nitesh.
quote me on any of it.
This is really good advice, Amanda. Thank you for providing context with each of your decisions for the advice.
Yeah.
Okay, Amanda. So the final question for this interview, if you could recommend one action that the listeners could take after listening to this interview, what would it be?
I would say possibly, and this might be for a career podcast, it might be a little bit against the grain, but I would say don't make your career your life. And you can do that. The step you can do for that is to get out and find a hobby, get out of the house, meet new people. And the more you, just like the answer I just gave Piyush, the more you get out and meet new people and new ideas and new experiences, the more that'll serve your career in the end, inadvertently.
I love this advice.
Thanks.
I need to get out of the house more myself. So
Same.
yeah, I'll take it. All right, Amanda, it was such a pleasure having you here. I think this was a fantastic conversation. Thank you so much for joining us on here.
Yeah, thank you so much. And again, thank you for introducing me to podcasting, my first time ever. So I'll always be grateful for that.
You're very welcome, Amanda.